On the 13th of February 2014, the Honorable Nasir Abdul Swamad Sharif, Member of Parliament from Vita constituency, requested for a statement regarding the police raid in Masjid Musa Mosque in Mombasa County. The Honorable Member alleged that the police officers raided the mosque and attacked the worshippers after they had conducted the afternoon prayers in the name of fighting terrorism. And more particularly, the Honorable Member wanted to be informed on the following. One, the reason why the police raided a place of worship without taking any precaution on the innocent worshippers or subsequent repercussions. Two, the action the government is taking against the police officers who raided the mosque and killed innocent Kenyans. Three, the fate of the missing persons. The Speaker, sir, I wish to respond as follows. That on the 31st January 2014, the Mombasa County Security Committee received information on distribution of leaflets that were inviting Muslim youth with jihad-minded ideologies to attend a jihad conference on Sunday, the 2nd February 2014 from 9 a.m. at Masjid Musa Mosque in Majengo within Mombasa County. Mr. Speaker, the notice was purportedly written by Masjid Musa Organizing Committee, and the leaflets bearing the notice had images of hooded people holding rifles and grenades resembling those used by Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda terrorist groups. According to the leaflets, Mr. Speaker, the following topics were to be discussed during the conference. One, Ikamul Jihad. Two, Nifak in the history of jihad. Three, judgment of Shahid, whom to be washed and whom not to be washed. Four, good youth in Islam. Then the importance of worship in Mujahid. Then Mujahid does not erase the era of judgment of jihad. Then features of the Khawarij, Murjia, then union of youth, and lastly, Al-Wala, why, Bara, unity and disunity for the sake of Allah. The following speakers were listed as facilitators. One, Sheikh Ismail, Sheikh Swaleh, Sheikh Khalid, Sheikh Ibrahim, Sheikh Sahid, Sheikh Mohammed, and Sheikh Fureya. The Speaker, subsequently the County Security Committee advised against holding of such a meeting, and pursuant to that advice, the County Police Commander advised the targeted audience as a youth against attending. A ban of the meeting was subsequently issued, and the conveners were advised to cancel the conference. There was also intelligence reports that the conference's sole objective was recruitment and radicalization of youth to join Al-Shabaab terrorist cells in Somalia. On Sunday, the 2nd February 2014, the radical and defiant youth assembled at Masjid Musa Mosque for the conference in total defiance to the police ban. At about 1 p.m., police officers went to the mosque and found banners and flags bearing images of rifles hoisted all over the mosque and across the roads adjacent to the mosque. The black flags resembled those used by Al-Shabaab. The police officers called out using public address system for the conveners of the conference to come out for a peaceful resolution to the issue. But instead, the officers were met by a hail of bullets and stones coming from the mosque. The county commander then read out a proclamation, after which the police first threw tear gas into the mosque to disperse the conveners and participants, but they continued firing and hurling stones at the police. The Speaker, the police, when police realized that these were not ordinary conference participants, but armed militants, and therefore the county commander ordered the officers to storm the mosque and disperse and arrest the participants and conveners. During the confrontation, two GSU officers, that is Police Constable Thaddeus Mutuku and Police Constable Peter Makemba was stabbed with knives by the radical youths at the waist and neck respectively, where unfortunately the latter, that is Peter Makemba, succumbed to the injuries while undergoing treatment in hospital. The youths also grabbed a G3 rifle from one of the injured officers and escaped with it into the mosque. A fierce exchange of fire ensued, which led to the death of 2 civilians, while several others were injured. Hence, according to the police records, police is only aware of the death of 1 civilian and 1 security officer at the mosque, and 1 Fuad Abdullah, who had been admitted at the Coast General Hospital and eventually succumbed to injuries sustained during the skirmishes. Further, Mr. Speaker, the police cannot rule out possibility of some radical youth members having escaped with injuries, but which are yet to be reported to the police. Mr. Speaker, after a 4-hour battle, police arrested 129 radical suspects, while several others escaped. The following items were recovered from the mosque, which are being held as exhibits: 1 AK-47 rifle, 1 G3 rifle, which had been stolen from the fallen GSU officer, 3 laptops, 3 big stones of tobacco snuff, several militant VCDs and DVDs, several swords and knives, several banners and flags bearing images of crossed AK-47 rifles. Subsequently, investigations were commenced and police have so far charged 70 suspects with the following offenses. 1, being members of a terrorist group contrary to Section 24 of the Prevention of Terrorism Act number 30 of 2012. 2, being in possession of articles connected with the offense of terrorism contrary to Section 30 of the Prevention of Terrorism Act number 30 of 2012. 3, incitement to violence contrary to Section 27 of the Prevention of Terrorism Act number 30 of 2012. 4, robbery with violence contrary to Section 295 as read together with Section 296/2 bracket 2 of the Penal Code. Investigations against the rest of the suspects that were arrested at the scene are still ongoing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the government is not intending to take any action against the police officers who raided and participated in the arrest of the radicalized suspect, as police officers acted properly and within the law. Further, the government will not relent in its war against radicalization of the youth or persons with the sole purpose of perpetuating acts of terrorism on innocent Kenyans. Likewise, the government will not allow any place of worship to be used as centers of radicalization of youth for the purpose of promoting terrorism. On suspects who are arrested, police can only account for 129 suspects arrested and booked at the police stations. However, whereas the several radical youths escaped arrest at the Masjid Musa Mosque during the operation, and some more suspects escaped at Makupa police station just before being booked in the occurrence book, as the station was overcrowded by relatives and onlookers who are waiting to see their kin before being put in cells. Mr. Speaker, we do not have their records but are being sought for. Mr. Speaker, on 14 February 2014, Haki Africa, an NGO, filed a petition in the High Courts of Kenya at Mombasa against the Director of Public Prosecution as first respondent, Inspector General second respondent, and the Kenya Police Service third respondent, asking the court to order the police to produce Hamed Salim Hamed. In replying to the petition, Inspector Evans Wesonga, based at Directorate of Criminal Investigation in Mombasa, has sworn an affidavit dated 20th February 2014 and presented to the High Court of Kenya in Mombasa. The case is coming up for submission on 26 February 2014, and therefore disclosing more information at this stage is a case of sub judice. As I finish, Mr. Speaker, because this statement is really weighty and long, hence, Mr. Speaker, relatives are advised to make a formal report of missing persons to Makupa police station or the nearest police station for investigation. However, subsequent to the escape of a number of suspects, an occurrence book entry was made on how some of the suspects escaped from the custody of police officers and booked as OB number 39/3/2 of 2014 and an inquiry file number 1/2014 open person to the very escape. Both Masjid Musa and Sakina Mosque have been known for jihad, radicalization of youth for the purpose of terrorist attacks associated with Al-Shabaab in Somalia, and available and reliable information is that some youth at the conference were in fact returnees from Somalia who had received rigorous Al-Shabaab training and were back in Kenya to recruit others. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, the radicals had in fact staged a takeover and ejected all the bona fide imams of the two mosques and their committees and replaced them with their own. These two mosques are a no-go zone for ordinary Muslim faithfuls. Moreover, Mr. Speaker, the violent attack and subsequent killing of an officer and robbery of a government firearm necessitated firm action by police in order to arrest the culprits and forestall further bloodshed. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, I think there's some attachment there that says Honorable Kamama. Isn't there an attachment that I see supplementary information? Was it part of this? What I have on...
That is meant for my consumption, Mr. Speaker.
I see. Honorable Abdul Sheriff.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as expected, the response, and I want to thank the chairperson for security and his team. But as always, the report that always comes in is not something that has been properly digested by themselves. Mr. Speaker, in the response, the Cabinet Secretary indicates that they were aware of this meeting from the 31st, and the meeting was to take place on 2nd. That means they had a good 3 days to be able to take action on those who were intending to do whatever it is that was going to be done. They even go ahead and they say that they knew who wrote the leaflets, they even knew who the speakers were. It's detailed that in the report, it's detailed that the chairperson has mentioned almost 8 to 9 names of those who were going to be talking on that day. And why did they not take action and arrest those people who were going to be doing what was happening? Then thereafter, Mr. Speaker, they even knew the subjects of what was going to be discussed. They even knew, and they're saying that the County Security Committee, which, by the way, Mr. Speaker, I would wish for it to be on record, that the County Security Committee, till today, me as an elected member of Parliament, I do not even know who sits in that committee. They've never even called me even once to say that we have a problem, and they only called me after Mombasa was on fire to try and put this fire down. And Mr. Speaker, they're saying that they even advised the conveners. They advised the conveners that they broke the law, and that they're saying that they summoned them and told them not to go ahead. And the question is, how did they summon them? How did they convene them? That means they know who it is. And was it necessary to attack a mosque at a time like 1 o'clock when people have just finished their midday prayers, and the leaflets purportedly indicate that there was going to be free lunch. And I also personally take offense, Mr. Speaker, that in his statement, everyone who was arrested, including 9-year-olds, are being called radicalized jihadists, because that is the way they have been mentioned in that statement. Mr. Speaker, there is so much that does not add up. It does really not add up at all. They've talked about exchange of fire. There is no indication whatsoever, not even a single indication that there was fire that had come from the mosque towards where the police were. They are talking that they gave warning using public address systems. There is no one to allude to this and to confirm to this. They have said that only one person died. We have reports indicating that 7 people died. 7 people were killed by the police. These reports are reports from the Coast General Hospital and other various hospitals, including post-mortem reports. They're saying that this took a period of 4 hours, and we know it lasted hardly an hour. And on top of it, you know, I mean, really, everyone here knows that, Honorable Duale, we will get to that. Everyone here knows that the issue of being told that they found tobacco snuff in a mosque is seriously, I mean, these are the same things we are going on and on and on and on. And now, Mr. Speaker, I would request the Leader of Majority to kindly allow me,
Leader Majority, point of order.
I don't want to interrupt my good friend, but we also want to seek clarification, a lot of members. So we expect the Honorable Abu Samad to seek clarifications and not to talk for too long, because even us, we really want to engage the chair on this serious matter.
So I think you must conclude so that also the chair can respond, if at all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Now, regarding, this is something that is very weighty, and I know that a number of members would wish to seek clarification on this matter. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, regarding the Hamed Salim Hamed, this is a gentleman who, when the police caught and arrested him, they said he's the most wanted person, he's the person who had the weapons with him. And on top of it, Mr. Speaker, the police now claim that despite evidence that they confirm that he had been handcuffed, the police now claim that out of goodwill, on their way to the police station, they decided to uncuff him and he ran away. And Mr. Speaker, we even have detailed documents to prove that this gentleman was mentally ill, and he had gone there for purposes of repairing electrical works. Mr. Speaker, I know this is going to take a lot of time, and I know that this is going to be something that is going to be back and forth, and we will expect the chairperson to come back, and every time he comes back, I do not suspect or I do not expect that we will be getting any form of results whatsoever. Therefore, I will seek your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, to seek a motion whereby an independent Parliamentary Select Committee shall be formed, and within a period of 30 days to investigate into this matter and put a stop into it so that we do not go back and forth, and for the executive to try and use parliamentary question time as a way of getting away with cold-blooded murder.
So, Honorable Kamama, that has been long and winding. Do you wish to say something about it, or as the chair of the committee? Because it's honorable members, I don't know whether all of you have read this statement, the response. Honorable Kamama.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, as a committee, we rely on what we are told by the Cabinet Secretary. but the honorable member is at liberty to actually use, other avenues within our standing orders to get information. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as the committee is concerned, we are relying on this information by the Cabinet Secretary. Lastly, I just wanted to inform my good friend, the Honorable Nasir, that usually we have a county security committee that sits down to look at security issues at least even twice in a month, chaired by the county commissioner, the commandant, AP commander, the AP police commandant from the regular police, from an officer from Directorate of Criminal Investigation, and the NIS are members. So he is at liberty also, because he comes from that county, he's at liberty to meet them for any clarification on any issue. Mr. Speaker, that is my statement. I mean, that is a statement, and I don't think I have more to say.
Mr. Speaker, this matter, and I want to speak for my constituency. And I think it's the first time in the 11th Parliament that I want to seek clarification from a chair of a committee from my coalition. But this one, Mr. Speaker, is a very serious matter. And before, Mr. Speaker, I need your guidance. Because the same committee, led by Honorable Kamama, can do a serious probe, can go to Mombasa, can meet all the stakeholders, and can bring ultimately a report concerning what happened, the truth behind what happened in Masjid Musa. Because, Mr. Speaker, we don't need to set another committee. The committee led by Honorable Kamama can take that investigative if you order so. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, because the matter before the House today is so serious, it concerns about the violation of Article 32(1), where security forces went into a place of worship, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, as a member of Parliament that represents a constituency that is 90% Muslim, where in my constituency there are over 825 mosques. The same, I'm sure, for my Christian brothers. The sanctity of a place of worship, Mr. Speaker, is well protected in our constitution. So this must be investigated. Why? Was there any other, and I want the chair to clarify, was there any other option available for our security forces than, because if you look at that claim, Mr. Speaker, it looks very ugly. It looks very ugly on the part of the Muslim community that some of us lead. This house has over about 20% of the Muslim faith. Mr. Speaker, the storming of Masjid Musa is a serious issue to be discussed. Mr. Speaker, secondly, the radicalization of Muslim youth on terrorism is also a very, very serious matter for our country. So we want the committee also to discuss the causes of radicalization and bring a report to this House as the way forward and solutions so that this House can help government put strategic measures in the war against terror by also looking at what are the causes of radicalization. Mr. Speaker, but I want to ask the chair, because he has engaged the Interior Department, what prompted and what is the way forward? Was that the start of storming mosque? If that is the start, then, Mr. Speaker, we have a serious issue as Muslims. So was there any available? So our issue is, Mr. Speaker, and I ask you to direct the committee led by Honorable Kamama to do an in-depth investigative parliamentary investigation and contrary to the reports that we have received from that department.
Point of order, Honorable Sakaja. What's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this matter that has been raised by Honorable Abdul Somad is indeed wider than just security. Mr. Speaker, I hear his appeal that an ad hoc committee be formed to look at it, but I think if you look at the Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity, I think if this committee works together with security or as another committee, this is actually how we should look at it, because there are issues of profiling. A lot of our young people in the country are either being profiled as terrorists or as mungiki, and unfairly so. Mr. Speaker, part of the mandate of the Committee on National Cohesion, which I chair, I'm sure many members may not know that, part of its mandate really is to look into how, if there are any cases that certain sections of the society are discriminated against by virtue of age, gender, religion, tribe, or health status. And I think this is a matter that we want to take up and take up very seriously. This is also a committee that has not only members of the National Assembly, it also has senators. I have personally met the National Muslim Youth leaders, both under NAMLEF and SUPKEM, on this issue, not officially, but I think this is something that we would like to take up as well, together with the Committee on Security or as an ad hoc committee, Mr. Speaker. We kindly seek your direction on that.
Unfortunately, honorable members, we must be alive to what the Honorable Sheriff has said. And this issue would only be directed at only the issue of the causes and what led to, and it will not go outside. We cannot set up a select committee to just go and do, start running around about who is being discriminated on the ground of religion, height. Of course, I'm very concerned about height, as was earlier on pointed out, and other aspects of human anatomy. But I think the honorable member made some proposal. And I think to respond to him is to say that it is within your power and right to move a motion to set up a select committee which should go to do specifically only to investigate only this. But of course, remember also as Parliament, you have certain other handicaps that you can only, at the end of the day, you will only be able to make recommendations for implementation by others. That's the only thing that one must caution, that you may say you have this evidence, and then you start investigating and you find you are going nowhere. It is not fair also for Parliament to act in vain. As we say that the courts must not act in vain, so too must Parliament not act in vain. So that whatever it is that you seek to investigate and inquire into, the recommendations that you come up with must be recommendations that are capable of implementation by whichever agency of government that you may wish to. But of course, that is not the subject now. The Honorable Sheriff, you can move with speed and propose the motion. It is really, there's nothing which is untoward about your request. You can move the motion. But we can now get Honorable Kamama to respond to the issue raised by the Leader of Majority, and or we hear from your neighbor there, the man with the extremely receded hairline, the Honorable Elmi. He should not be discriminated on account of that. Yes. Also.
I should not be discriminated on the basis of my hairstyle. I have a special Baba, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mine is 3 clarifications. For me, Mr. Speaker, radicalization is real, Al-Shabaab is real. But the question I want to ask the Honorable Chairman, through the Honorable Chairman, is the action of the police. In their view, was it radicalizing or not? In fact, that action probably radicalized more youth across the country on live television. The second one, what programs are there? If the Member of Parliament, people knew this mosque, there is a problem. He has never been called to say that the youths that are being radicalized. And the Member of Parliament says he does not know the security. They have not planned together. There are no programs to stop youths from being radicalized. So what programs are there to stop radicalization? Or are we as a country allowing this thing to go on? The final one, when giving a statement, people must be credible. Al-Shabaab is clandestine in our country. It hides itself. You are talking of people who are announcing, come for food, come to this place. You don't arrest them. You go on, any Kenyan knows, when the prayer is called, any Muslim passing by will enter the mosque next to him and pray there. You go there, you stop me. I saw that thing. It made me feel so bad that somebody was shooting at a mosque. That thing was so terrible. So my question is, who gave that order? Why didn't they arrest all those people if they were so bad? So, because these people are people who hide themselves. They don't announce and say, come for food, and we are going to now recruit you as Al-Shabaab. So when people give parliament statements, they must give credible statements. And therefore, Mr. Chairman, did you question this statement before you brought to the floor of the House?
I think I want to protect the chair from your questions, because they are questions, not clarifications at all. First of all, you cannot ask the chairman what plans there are by government to stop radicalization. And this is why I'm telling you, this system, this procedure is not right. Why is your colleague sitting next to you? You're asking him what plans. He said it's business to make plans. It's the work of the executive. That's the work of government. If you listen to also the statements, you have asked another question. Who gave the order? You need to get a clarification. He's sitting next to you. The statement he read says that it gives the name of the officer who gave the order. So now you're asking him to read it again. You are either not listening or you are not in the chamber by the time he was reading. Because it is clear. The statement it says who gave the order and after what. So unless you want us to engage now in the repetition, him to repeat, I even think that you have very important information, Honorable Elmi. But the proper place for it would be in a debate, in a motion. The information you have would be very useful if there was a motion. But this thing of a statement and you want to debate, and the chairman is going to say, no, there's no, I don't know. Suppose the chairman just says, I don't know what plans government has to stop radicalization. Have we achieved anything really? I don't think I agree with you, Honorable Elmi. It is important that that issue be addressed holistically. But can we really address it through this statement request? And you're actually asking him, your colleague next to you questions. There's nothing which is not clear that you need clarification on. I'm just trying to, Honorable Elmi, I'm not in any way criticizing what you have said, but I'm just trying to speak to the issue of the hopelessness of this procedure that we are currently using. Because this, indeed, questions like the ones you have raised, the three of them, if the CS was himself in this chamber, everybody would take him on. But now, your colleague who is sitting next to you holding the statement, who gave the order? Of course, he'll tell you now, just read here who gave the order. What are plans? He says, this one doesn't talk about plans. So I have no idea about what plans they may be having. But anyway, maybe the Honorable Asman Kamama has an idea about the plans government has about to stop radicalization and etc. Honorable Kamama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to respond to the clarification sought by the majority leader and Honorable Elmi, that on who ordered actually. Who ordered the storming of the mosque and the reason. I think I said this, Mr. Speaker, and I think you have alluded to that, that when, and I wish to repeat that, when the police officers called out using public address system for the conveners of the conference to come out for a peaceful resolution of the issue. But instead, the officers were met by a hail of bullets and stones coming from the mosque. Mr. Speaker, the government, whether even if Honorable Elmi or the majority leader was actually the commander of police, when you get bullets from a mosque or from a church, the officers have actually all the right to enter that place, arrest those people, and deal with them according to the law. That, Mr. Speaker, is conventional. It's not only in Kenya, it's all over the world. That is how police operate. Mr. Speaker, we regret that that people or officers who are not Muslims had to enter the mosque. I know it is very hurting to to people who practice the Islam faith. The same thing also to Christians. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, that is the first clarification. The second one, sought by Honorable Elmi, is the issue is whether the government, because we work very closely, and we also participate in meetings with the Cabinet Secretary because we engage them on policies issue most of the time. I want to confirm that there are serious policies to actually reduce radicalization among our youth, especially in Isli and Majengo in Mombasa. That I can confirm, and other places. But those two places are the ones, those two places are the ones, or are the places where you get a lot of, so many youth getting radicalized. Mr. Speaker, lastly, I will not oppose any option that you will choose. If you want us to choose the route of the motion, I have no problem. If you want us to work with the Committee on National Cohesion, I have no problem. We are ready for your instructions, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as you had directed, I will reserve the right of my parliamentary obligations, and I will seek a motion. And in that motion, I will include the views of Honorable Sakaja, I will include the views of Honorable Duale, and I will include the views of able-minded parliamentarians. And we wish for this because we know that a Parliamentary Select Committee cannot go for too long, and it has to be directed on particular issues. And we will wish for this to take effect at a very, very short time so we can be able to get an answer at the utmost speed. And I know, because we do not wish for this to be a debate anymore, because the way that we want it to be is once the Parliamentary Select Committee comes with the truth of what exactly transpired, then everyone is at liberty to be able to debate. But right now we are debating on something whereby the person who signed the document and gave it to Honorable Kamama is not here to be questioned and is not here to give the answers on what exactly transpired. And just a point of notification that yes, it does hurt that a mosque was entered with shoes, but what is more painful is that deaths occurred in that mosque. When killings happen in that mosque, that is more offensive to a Muslim than even the fact of the shoes.
Leader Majority. Honorable Sharif, I told you it's your right to move with speed to bring the motion, if you so wish. Honorable Leader Majority.
The Speaker, as I said earlier, the matter before us is a serious matter. And the Speaker, you know the process of a select committee, that even if a motion has to come, it has to be voted. Speaker, through your indulgence, I'll be very happy if already the established Committee of National Security and that of Equal Opportunities of Honorable Sakaja as a chair, if they could easily form and go to the ground and get the facts, both from Mombasa and the ministry concerned, and talk to the Muslim leadership and other key stakeholders and bring to this House a report, a broader report, bigger than Masjid Musa, touching on the general radicalization of Muslims. Mr. Speaker, I'll ask your indulgence that we go that way that from the chair, if you can order that the both committees do as a joint sitting, then if we go the select way, because as you said earlier, budget is involved, a member has to bring a motion, it has to go to the House Business Committee, it has to be debated here, it has to be approved by the House. That, in my opinion, will take long, but already we have a parliamentary committee. The chair is the one to oversight that ministry. So I'm sure if he does a serious investigation, a probe on this matter, then they can table this report within 3 weeks, Mr. Speaker. I indulge you.
Honorable members, I want to draw your attention to the fact that I know the sizes of committees. And you know the period of the year we are in. The Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security has 29 members. The other committee chaired by the Honorable Sakaja has members of this House and members from the other one. Now, I don't know, if you start saying, they start sitting, even if you are to give them 15 days to come up with a report, it's going to be almost impossible. And besides, unless there are issues that members really want to go and interrogate, besides what the Honorable Kamama's committee can do. Because if we go the route of Honorable Sakaja's committee has that mandate, even on their own, they got to go and find out that, about why youths are discriminated or radicalized. They don't have the authority, they do not have to seek authority here. So Honorable Sakaja can call his membership, which is from both the National Assembly and the Senate. So they can go ahead and do that one. But now this one is only specific to this mosque and this particular incident. So if you go, unless you go the route of the committee of the Honorable Asman Kamama, because, and part of the reason perhaps why we may require that to happen is, contrary to tradition, this report, and unfortunately, I don't know whether even the Honorable Sharif did not look at it. The Honorable Sharif, it is not, in Parliament we don't do this. Reports or statements which are supposed to be signed by a Cabinet Secretary, they are not signed for. This one is, it says, purports to be signed by somebody, but he has put an F, which stands for Joseph Ole Lenku. So you don't even know who it is that has signed this one. Even the information we are being told that this one gave orders. You see, why Parliament usually has to deal with people, the substantive holders of offices, is so that if this information is found faulty, he is the one you will deal with. But now this one is signed by some other fella. Which is why perhaps the Honorable, maybe the Honorable Kamama, I don't know how much work. I do know, of course, given the amount of requests that have come to you, I don't know whether you'll have the time to really devote to go and do thorough investigation of this particular incident. With all, Honorable Kamama, please, you can help us.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with the Honorable Nasir that we come up with a motion, then we get a select committee because to go and investigate this matter, so that when we get that report from them, it is now incumbent upon our committee to task the Cabinet Secretary and the minister and the government to implement. So I will follow the route of the select committee. Yes, I follow the route of the select committee. Then on the issue of signing form, the Speaker, you know, we don't have deputy ministers. And normally, some ministers, the cabinet secretaries can be away. So they are normally the PS and the deputy can sign. It is, otherwise we then have to wait. The Parliament will have to wait until a minister comes from abroad to do ABCD. So normally this can be delegated. It is within the procedure of the civil service. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
If we go ahead to accept this style, honorable members, you will be given a lot of this kind of statements, and perhaps at some point the Cabinet Secretary, even though he may be aware of the statement, if you find something which is not correct or not truthful, factually, the Cabinet Secretary can easily come and say before the committee, or even before the plenary of this House, that I'm not the one who signed. And you cannot hold him you cannot hold him accountable to the truthfulness of what is contained in the statement. So I think I would want to encourage, this Cabinet Secretary is, are you suggesting that they are permanently out of the country? This statement, if you read it, I think has been in the shelves for some time. Because it is even purporting to talk about something that is coming on 26th of February. We are now on 6th of March. So you can see it has been in the shelves for some time. So it may be that this statement was done quite some time back. Of course, even matters which have come before court have been mentioned. So I don't want to allow Parliament to get used to receiving statements which are not signed by the substantive holders of the offices, because you will put yourselves as Parliament in very difficult situations when it comes to holding people to account. Just like members are responsible for the accuracy of the statements they make on the floor of the House, we also require a document that is presented to the House to be signed by the holder of the office, so that the House can then hold their person to account. So it is important that, but I'm not going, even leader of majority, that I cannot change. It is because I think it is important that they signed. Certainly, if the document is expected to land on my desk, I will not take it when it is signed for. I will not take it when it is signed for. And the House will find itself in bigger problem if we continue accepting documents to be presented to you, signed on behalf of the substantive holders of the offices to whom perhaps the requests have been presented. Leader of Majority, you and some...
Speaker, sorry, today I misplaced my card. It was, I think, in the wrong suit, but I can confirm that I'm only having one home. So it must have got lost within the same home. Mr. Speaker, I totally agree with you, and Mr. Speaker, a communication has been made to government, even regarding the bills that I sign. That for bills, it's the Attorney General, the Solicitor General, or the Chief Parliamentary Counsel. For the other government, is the Minister, Cabinet Secretary, or the Principal Secretary. So, Mr. Speaker, I totally agree with you. Any document not signed by anybody other than those two, the Speaker is not valid, even if I speak for government. And second, Mr. Speaker, Nyeri is just here, Mount Kenya Safari Club. Somebody can go and there and ask Lenku to sign, or Iringo to sign. So, Mr. Speaker, I agree with you, and that should be the format. Because documents placed before Parliament by the executive, those officers must be accountable to. So I totally disagree with my chair. And chairs should not accept documents signed by junior officers. This, we have done it in correspondence as late as even yesterday, when we received the mining bill from government, and the person signed was junior. We had to tell either the AG or the Solicitor General to sign. And this morning, I don't know where they found the AG, the Solicitor General. This morning, the bill was back with the signature of the right officer. So I totally concur with you.
Very well. Honorable Wasid, no, we are not going to have further debate on this. No, there is no motion. The member has to, the member has already consulted the chair on this, so he is aware of. And indeed, he did not consult the chair alone. He was in the company of the Honorable Asman Kamama. So I think it's something that is agreeable mutually. It's the best way to go. So propose, we'll see how it can be fast tracked. In fact, the party leader is here. He can even sponsor it. Yeah?